Well, hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are, round in the middle of July, already past that middle mark, July 18th. My name's Ken Close. I'm a Healy World member, engineer, and lover of the technology. So that's what we're doing here, to unpack that technology. And I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Jake Barron, head of operations for Americas. Everybody give Jake a big round of applause.
Good evening, Ken. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. And we have a special guest in the background in the chat from tech support. Henry, is it who's joining us tonight? Is that right?
Yes, we got the great Henry helping us out tonight. Thank you.
All right, everybody say hello, Henry. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. So if you guys are brand new to Tech Tip Tuesday, well, first of all, welcome. I'm super glad you're here, and you're probably here because you have a question. So this is a chat-based forum where we put our questions in the chat, and between myself, Jake, and tech support, Henry in the background, and sometimes our guests, right? We're gonna unpack those mysteries, those questions, and give you the best solutions to the best of our knowledge. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the chat if you like. What we can't do here is we won't be able to treat, diagnose, prevent, or chat about diseases or disorders or things about the body. We really can't give you any suggestions as to which program for what condition. We have a great tool for that called the Heal Advisor Search app, which is phenomenal for that kind of stuff. But everything else is pretty much fair game. So if you're ready to get started, Jake, so am I. How about that?
Let's go.
All right. Well, let's see what we got in the chat already.
Got a lot of hellos and highs.
I love it. Say hello, hi. Thank you for being here. Yes, thank you for being here, you guys. You know, without you, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have anything to do, right? I don't know. I think there's plenty to do when it comes to Healy, because this technology is so, vast. That's why we're here, because I'll tell you what, when I get a question, it gives me an opportunity to just dig a little bit deeper. And sometimes I don't think of the cool things that Healy can do that you guys think of. So let's go. Here's one. Let's see. Is it possible to get descriptions of each program so we can find them in the YouTube afterwards? So in YouTube, we have these episodes right here, as well as, What's Up Wednesdays and some of the frequency and friends, lots of different channels and calls and such and trainings. But the descriptions of each of these programs is still within the owner's manual of the pink dot or the Healy app. I know there may not be as deep as you want them to be. But I think too that there's a lot of, like, you see a program name, and let's just take muscle, for instance. That's one of my favorites on the fitness page. And you see the word, actually it's harmony, right? It's muscle harmony. So if you see, well, what's that mean? If we're trying to anything from optimize the function of a muscle to repair, recover, and grow a muscle, that's essentially what's going on. And how do we know that? It's because Healy, when you run that program, the first phase of the program is to look at you as the host and see what you need in regards to that program's purpose, right? And then find frequencies to do the alignment. So this is the cool thing about that. It's like these programs may be multifaceted. So, a simple description is great. But it could get a whole page, I think. Jake, anything you want to?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if maybe by descriptions of each program, also, I was just wondering if she was referring to detailed descriptions of each of the videos that are in YouTube also, which, calls like Tech Tip Tuesday, of course, every question is indexed and hyperlinked to every topic that we discuss. And it really depends on the video too. If you're talking specifically about that Healy for Beginners and Beyond, Healy 101 Product, Healy 101 Business, What's Up Wednesday. Some of our our newer calls aren't necessarily all hyperlinked, like some of the MagHealy trainings that we've been adding to YouTube that are done every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. Those are just put up there kind of in their entirety, all at one. The same with Momentum Monday as well. It's not the entire call is not hyperlinked. So we do most of them. We're kind of at the limit of how many videos we can add in hyperlink. Yeah, we've kind of doubled the amount of videos just in the last couple of weeks that we're putting on there. So, but yeah, as whether you're looking for the program descriptions, like Ken mentioned, from the manual, or descriptions of our videos, you know, we have, for the most part, have things covered.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I would say, another way of directing that question is that when you read a name of a program, you know, what comes to mind? What comes to mind? Is it, does it say something to you? Does it just add more questions? And here's what I do, because my background is engineering, but I've been studying epigenetics and neuroscience for the last decade. And I've kind of combined everything into systems or principles. And when something comes to me that I don't understand, I ask questions. I get curious and I ask more questions to myself. You know, what is it that I am confused about? You know, if I just get a word that I've never heard of before, what context was it presented to me? Where do I have resources to actually start looking things up? And YouTube page is one. There's a lot on that page, and as Jake said, it's indexed. So if you have a word that's confusing or a program that's confusing, and you go through some of those indexing and search for that word or that program, see what comes up. You'd be surprised of the resources that all of a sudden start coming to you. Where we place our attention is where we place our energy, and it's going to draw in like frequencies. It's how Healy works, by the way. Okay. All right. So, okay. So we have, where do we find the program description? So I think, Jake, didn't you put that up there? Let's see, what is this?
Henry put that up there. He put a link to the Backoffice, and then you go to tools, downloads, and then you can pull up the product manuals there, but you can also access them from within the Healy app itself. You go to the info or whatever section, and then there's a manual that you can download to your phone. So you can pull it up there. You know, sometimes depending on if you're using a tablet or a smartphone, it might be a little bit too small. So you can go to your desktop, laptop, whatever, download that PDF, and then you have a much bigger version that you can look through.
Yeah, so take a look. If you have your app right now, and so this is the Healy app, this pink dot right here, the one I'm pointing to above me, the pink dot Healy app. That's our new one. When you go to the kind of the home page, the program group page, you'll see at the bottom of the screen you've got the program groups, you've got expert area, and info center. So go to info center, right? Click on info center. And there is instructions for use, which is kind of like just a little guide that's not all that big. But you can go to the tab that says, let's see, the guide itself. Let me look at this. I'm going to look at mine just so I can do it at the same time with you. Okay. The guide is, let's see, it's only 47 pages, but the instructions for use, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's the one that is, let me take a look.
Yeah, so while Ken is doing that there, just thank you, Henry, for putting into the chat how to get to it. But for just a visual, let me just share what that looks like in Backoffice. So here we are in Backoffice. We're in the tools section here, and then downloads, and then at the top here you can sort by flyers, so you can sort by manuals, price list, comp plan, all that kind of thing. And then you can filter also for new uploads if you're only looking for new. You haven't added anything this week, so there's nothing listed there. But if you just go back to, let's just go to the manuals section. And sorry, I'll click on this. You'll see, oh, sorry, we do have new stuff. It was just taking a while to load there. But let me go back to the manuals. I gotta undo these filters, but you'll see here, manual for the Healy app, and then there's versions in English and Spanish. But if you click on that, you can download it, and then you can pull it up. Ken mentioned it's 47 pages, and some of the programs have more detailed descriptions than others, but it's an amazing resource if you've never looked through it, or if you haven't looked through it in a while and just kind of want to get a refresher on that. So
yeah, so again, yeah, like I said, it is directly from your app itself. You go into the guides, and so you'll see it. It's right there. Yeah. So either way, and by the way, if you do go from your app, you have an opportunity to save that to your smart device. I have so many different PDFs and resources saved to my smart device because it's just a quick reference. Now, you can have it on your computer, but if you're using your Healy with your smart device and you want some information, it might be handy to have it right there on your smart device. Okay. Oh, another thing I want to talk about too, pertaining to downloading things to your smart device. Healy is one of those systems that's kind of resource hungry. And so you want to make sure your smart device is not tasked. In other words, the memory is not utilized completely. Like if you ran out of memory, if you guys have ever gotten to, like, you put a lot of pictures, a lot of apps, a lot of videos and things on your smart device, and all of a sudden you're trying to send a text to somebody and it's slowing down, maybe it's glitching, or you're trying to check your email or something like that, and things are stalling or floundering. That's a symptom that you have not enough memory resources for the program, aka the app, to do its job, right? And so same with Healy. It's not going to be any different with Healy. Healy's going to need some memory on your smart device to function. So a good rule of thumb is that you need to have at least 25% of your overall memory for your smart device available. In other words, you're not maxed out. So there's ways that you can find out how much memory you have available on your smart device. And if you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube. There's always a cool YouTube. Somebody is going to tell you, you know, like on an iPhone or an Android or whatever, how to check your available memory. So, so make sure you have at least 25% of your memory available. Okay. Let's see. So here's a question. Are we caught up here? I'm not sure if I missed it.
Yeah, I think we're on the last question, most recent one asked.
Okay. If you get a low percentage from a scan, like 40% or below, do you still run those programs in the pink dot? This is a great question because, well, first of all, when you get these low percentages, I'm telling you, folks, you're probably doing some good work on yourselves. Right? You're probably doing some good things in your life to keep your body in, you know, in fairly good shape. So yes. I still run those even though they're below 40%, or if, let's say that my highest intensity on my scans in terms of percentage is 40% and everything else is below that. So it still is saying that of all of the things that within that database that Healy has, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of possibilities or millions of endless possibilities, 40% relevancy is this right here, whatever it is. So we can always get a little better. Don't you agree? I mean, isn't there always a little room for improvement? So yes, run those. Absolutely.
Ken, I think one other thing to add on there is that, you know, sometimes we get this question where you might run a scan in the Analyse app for all Healy programs, and you might have one program group that comes up, I don't know, really high relevancy, maybe like 60, 70%, something like that. And then you do another scan, you want to find out more detailed information, just on that database. And we've had this question come up where, okay, it was say 65% in the all Healy programs group, but within that program group itself, just that database, maybe there's nothing above 45%. And people are, well, how can it be that this program's this high, but within that program group, it's not? And I think this is important to discuss here, because it's a completely different scan. You're scanning out of all the program groups. This is the program group that contains the programs that you need the most, but within that group, maybe you need a lot of them equally. There's not one that stands out within there, which is okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong or didn't do the scan properly or anything like that. So maybe I was wondering if maybe Lindley, that was one of the points she was asking about.
Yeah, it's true. We're looking at an overall database. Now, when you, like Jake said, if you do all Healy programs, okay, there's what, over 300? I don't know where we're at now.
Yeah.
A lot of programs when it looks at all Healy programs. Now, so let's just say there's 300 programs. Healy has the potential of about 9 million different frequencies. So each one of these programs has a resource pool of groupings of frequencies known by experience to have an effect on whatever that program is designed to do. And that resource pool could be hundreds of frequencies available in that one program. So when you scan all 300 and it comes up with the top 5, right? That means it's at the speed of light, analyzed all of that content and narrowed it down to the top 5. And then gave it to you in an order of priority, in percentage, from highest percentage to lowest. So then if you take each one of those pages and scan them, remember, each page could have up to how many programs? 12 programs per page. That's possible. So now it's scanning up to 12 programs. And what did I say? Each one of those programs could have a resource pool of hundreds of frequencies, because the goal here is to get the exact frequencies needed to align you based on the database you've chosen. So that's how you narrow it down. I mean, that's a lot of information. It's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And then it's assigning it in priority order, right? So, I mean, that's just brilliant. I get a lot of questions a lot of times about, well, how does it know? How does it do exactly that, right? And I love that question because we're looking at life. Since we don't have another question here, I'm going to go. We're looking at life, everything from the big, from the very big, right? What we see, a tree, a house, a car, people, even the smallest of things, from a thimble to a grain of sand. Even all of that, to the smallest that we can see with the naked eye, is still the very big. It's the very big. And the way that the quantum field works and the way that Healy works is on the very small, the smallest of small, down to the electron level, right? Energy itself. And even the grain of sand has a specific vibration versus, say, a tree. They're different, but they're both energy. And if we were to look at everything if we could see frequency, right, and everything was energy, it would kind of look like that scene from the Matrix. You know, have you ever got, you know what I'm talking about? It's just a bunch of data streams flying down, and then maybe there's some shapes and forms and stuff like that. But we don't see that way. We see in the very big. And Healy sees in the very small. It looks at things from the electron field. And within one electron, within one cell on your body, has infinite information. And it gives Healy information. And Healy has infinite abilities to narrow down those frequencies and align that with that one electron. So it's looking at the very tiny. It's like at the speed of light, looking at trillions and trillions of bits of content. And we're just looking at the very big, looking at 10 bits of content, right? And we're just amazed at how does it know? It's amazing, right? Okay. Let's see. Jennifer's saying, forgive me, I stepped away to answer the door. And then can you repeat where we can find program descriptions? So if you go up in the chat, a link was put up there for the tools in your back office. You can go into tools, downloads, and look at the guides, or you can go in the app itself. And at the bottom of your screen, there are the different tabs at the bottom of your screen, and you click on Info Center. It's right there in Info Center. So yeah, you can get right to it from there, from your app or from the back office. Okay.
And we got a MagHealy question here. Says, is there some sort of gadget to hold the MagHealy without having to be holding it the whole time? So if you're running the classic programs and making programs, you know, maybe you're running a program on your knee or your lower back or your neck, and you know, how do you attach that there? You know, right now there isn't an official Healy accessory that goes along with the MagHealy. It's a great idea for a future thing. I know, Ken, we've had some people on this call mention they use like a scarf or pantyhose even to kind of attach it, wrap it around. Some people use a fanny pack, put the MagHealy in there, and then kind of put it around the waist for a lot of the programs that say to just place it on your belly. Of course, if you're able to, and you're getting to lay down, it makes it a lot easier. But of course, that's not always convenient or the best option available for some people. So I think, you know, it's okay to get creative as far as what you're using to hold it, as long as you're not putting it in some sort of metal container or something like that, where it would block those magnetic fields there.
Yeah. So if it's cloth, or you know, and it doesn't really matter if it's a synthetic cloth versus an organic cloth. It's still, you know, as long as it's not metallic. That's the important thing. Metallic material still doesn't block all frequencies, but a metallic item, something that conducts electricity, is metallic. When it's sending magnetic waves out, a magnetic wave, when it impacts something metallic, it induces a current flow into that metallic material, and then kind of like a transducer reproduces another magnetic wave. So you could get a little bit of a nulling effect, but not really much, unless it's lead, copper, you know, those kind of things. But a lot of conductive material actually will continue the signal going forward, but it could drop down the strength. Right. So I'm going to I want to bring my phone on the call.
Okay, great.
And just share. I'm going to share the screen and show you real quickly within the app. You know, we'll just jump on real quick and take a peek at where to go. Here is the app. So you go to the pink dot. I'm running a program now, so it's going to connect to my app, or my Healy, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And at the bottom of the screen, I'm going to say continue. At the bottom of the screen down there, there's all your programs. At the bottom of the screen shows you program group, expert area, info center, and settings. What we're concentrating on is the info center. So if I tap on info center, here's what you get. Cool thing is the newsletters are at the top news tab. You can click on that and go look at all the newsletters right from the app. Healy Academy, you tap on that. It's a link. It's a pointer, a URL link right to the Healy Academy. You'll still have to log in, but you're right there. There's your Healy Academy downloads. Same thing, takes you right to your download section, your back office. But right here is guide. See the top one says guide. That's where you're going to find that 47-page owner's manual or guide or operator's instructions. And then right below that it says instructions for use. That's that small little guide that comes with your Healy in the box. And then at the very bottom is the help center. You click on your help center, and I'm just going to show you what that is. Takes you to being able to submit a ticket, right? So let's take a look at that guide real quick. I clicked on the guide, and there it is. And you can go page after page, right into all the information. Remember, we were talking about where's the information about the different programs. Okay, so right here, section 2, Healy IMF programs. There's each one listed, and the paragraph heading for each one. And you can go to any of those descriptions and take a look.
Yeah, Ken, while you have that, anyway, on the first section of that manual there, we have a video that explains this now, but if you go to that, just the table of contents section there, so it's also interesting for anyone that has not yet done this. The very first section, it goes through the different modes that when you're running a program in the Healy app goes through: real-time, resonance, and selection. And a lot of people don't realize what's going on, if there's differences between how the app is sort of interacting with you during each of those different modes. So I think it's just one page at the beginning there, but it's worth reading if you have not done so already. Yeah.
So there it is. Real-time mode, resonance mode, and selection.
Because we get the question where, someone might be going through, they start the program, they run it, and they said all of a sudden, a few minutes later, these percentages started to pop up. What do those mean? Well, it says right here, the resonance mode, where you can, there's an indication between, negative 100 or negative 99, negative 100, all the way to a positive. As far as basically your need for that particular frequency that's being delivered at that time. So a lot of the answers to the questions that we get are found in that app manual. So it's definitely worth a read. Yeah,
and the video does that description as well.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Okay. Let's see, here's one. So which might be more beneficial, running the programs daily from a scan for several days, or just the top one for that day and then do another scan the next day? Okay. And we talk about this question, don't we? And I liken it to if we're doing some kind of a fitness program, or we're doing some kind of a new diet, or we're doing some kind of new modality in our life, how long do we keep up that process before we see some change in our body? So let's just take a diet, for instance. We change some aspect of how we're eating. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of acidic type foods out there. And so when we change to a more alkali diet, our body changes, but it takes a bit of time, doesn't it? And eventually there's a whole lot of change. But if we just changed our diet today, ate maybe a more alkali diet today, and then tomorrow went back right to the same thing we were doing the prior day, then we're probably not going to see much difference, right? So when we do a scan, my advice is to give yourself a lot of patience. If you're going to do a blue dot scan and it's going to reveal 5 pages worth of content, and then you break down each one of those pages into 5 sequences of programs within that each page, 5 times 5 is 25 potential programs. And how many frequencies each program might have that could be used on you? Hundreds. So my recommendation, and what I always do when I do a scan, is I will yield my 5 top choices, and then each one of those I will break them down even further, so I wind up with 25 different programs in proper order. And if we stick to the rule of running 3 to 4 a day, right, we can just start at the top of the list run the first 3, and then you're going to wind up going from page after page after page along the sequence in which you found. And it could be a whole week's worth. I recommend you do that at least 2 weeks in a row, and then measure yourself. I know some folks are scanning every day. And believe me, the moment that you get a new piece of information, you're going to change. So you can run a scan right this second, run another scan right after it. And because you read the content, you become aware of what it revealed about you. You're different, right? You're different. And so the next scan is going to be slightly different. There's probably going to be some similarities, but it's going to be a bit different. So if you keep running scan after scan after scan, you're not really going to apply much or give your body this 3-dimensional matter in space and time, time to shift and change its energy. All right. So be patient. Okay. Where are we? What are the different frequency types on the resonance, Healy, and MagHealy? Frequency types. Well, if we're looking at, so frequencies are frequencies. I'm not sure what you mean by frequency.
Yeah, but probably just in general, maybe asking what's the difference between running a program, vibrating programs in the Analyse app, running microcurrent programs in the Healy app, and MagHealy programs with the MagHealy. Because yeah, I think almost every week. It's a great question though, because all of them can be used together, but there's key differences between each of them as far as how they're delivering, whether it's vibrating frequencies into the information field in the Analyse app, whether it's applying microcurrent directly to the body using cables, something like this with the Healy 2 app, or using the benefits of the magnetic, the quantum analyzed frequencies through the MagHealy itself. So there's, I feel like this is a half an hour topic, but it's an important one, right?
Yeah, we've covered this several times.
Yeah.
If we break it down into 3 main parts, where you have microcurrent, magnetic energy, and then information field content. Okay, microcurrent, you're only going to get that one way. How? With the Healy device connected via the electrodes and the wires. Okay, microcurrent. And microcurrent is simply a carrier, like a pail, carrying the frequencies through the body, molecule by molecule. All right, that's one version. Second version is magnetic energy. Healy does that similarly with the coil, transfers that current flow into magnetic energy and transmits it into a area. MagHealy does that also, but MagHealy has a bigger area, a little bit more powerful transmission systems, and has the ability to send 2 frequencies simultaneously. And the third area is the information field influence, which is essentially quantum entanglement, where its focus is the client, which is what you've put into the Blue Dot app. As you put a client in there, and then all of the scanning and then all of the transmission that Healy does is entangled with the client based on that client's GPS. What's the GPS? Well, it's all the content you put in that client's record. Okay. Those are the 3 main modalities. That was a short version, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, you can go back and look at some of our past Tech Tip Tuesdays, Healy for Beginners and Beyond, some of the more recent ones over the last few weeks or months. We covered this topic as well. So you can search within our YouTube channel, HealyAmericas.com for more details.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is a question. I have a question that when I was using the Blue Dot sleep program, ran for 4 hours and found that I even slept light that time. So was wondering, this question is asking if there's a better way of using the sleep program. So yes, there's dual mode systems where you can run a microcurrent sleep program before bed and then enhance it with the blue dot. And you can run it for longer periods of time if you wish within the blue dot. So in other words, the setting the body up for rest means that you've got to get out of the fight or flight. You've got to get into that rest or digest, getting out of the beta brainwave state into the alpha brainwave state, moving yourself into sleep, which is theta and delta. So how do you do that? Well, if you do it at the end of your day and you time it properly, from the sleep program page, there's one called bed rest. Bed rest, its design, its purpose is to move you from the sympathetic, aka fight or flight, or the analytical beta brain, into sympathetic, aka rest and digest, into more of the alpha brainwave. So you run that program, then you run whatever the scan revealed to you from the sleep page within the Analyse, the blue dot, and then you run that as you drift off to sleep. Set the timer, off you go. So that's a good way of adding the microcurrent infusion to move the body into a restful state, and then adding to it from feeding the information field. Okay.
I was just going to say, you referred to running some of the microcurrent programs first and then moving over to the Analyse app. You can also, it's always great to utilize the search function in the Healy Advisor app too. I was just curious. I haven't looked at for sleep in a while, but if you go to the Healy Advisor search, type in sleep, all IMF programs, and I'll tell you some of the great ones to run with microcurrent. There's obviously one called sleep. In the digital nutrition mixtures, there's a balanced sleep program, there's a bed rest program, fine flow, sleep systemic. So there's a ton of programs that could help support you with this particular need.
Absolutely. And I say make yourself the experiment. You can run up to 3 of those programs and just give it a test drive. Do something one evening, try something else the next evening. If you're really struggling with sleep, fine tune it until you find your formula. Everybody's a little different.
Yeah, you might find that after running some of these microcurrent programs before bed, that you don't even need to run the Analyse app throughout the night too. So
absolutely. Remember that the body will not sleep if it does not feel safe. So we have to participate in our own ability to rest and turn off our fight or flight. And if we don't feel safe, by the way, this is not just something that's affecting your sleep. It's affecting many other aspects of your life. Sleep is a symptom, or I should say, inability to sleep is a symptom of something else. So like Jake was saying, going into that analysis page and searching for things, you'll find that it's going to reveal other things that you could use to help support you and downregulate some of that stress response so you can improve your sleep. Let's see.
So this is interesting. This is related to when you were sharing your screen earlier, Ken. The question was, Jennifer is running a program in the Healy app, but she cannot back out of the program page without stopping the program. And Henry, thank you already for putting the answer to this question in the chat, but just worth a quick mention here, because yeah, of course, if you have the app open and it's connected to your Healy device, you cannot go back off that page to maybe go back and change the program, whatever. It's gonna ask you in order to go back to stop that program. But Ken, yours was running a program, but it actually wasn't connected. So you can, as Henry mentioned, you can hard close that app. You can just fully close out that app itself from your smart device. And then that program will continue to run. The power indicator light, the program indicator light will continue to flash, and the program will continue to run until it stops. But if you wanted to go back in and maybe adjust the intensity, that kind of thing, connect to it again, as Ken's doing right here, it'll show you if your program's not done yet and you go back into the app and connect again, it'll show you resume. It'll show you the progress indicator, exactly where you are in that particular program. So
yeah, right here it'll say continue, right? And if I I'll quickly load up a program. We were just talking about bed rest. Now, by the way, if I run bed rest right now, it's not going to put me to sleep, folks. What it does do is it puts me into a restful state, into the parasympathetic or rest and digest. So I'm not going to fall asleep on you. Don't worry. So here, now I'm going to go ahead and send that program. What I'm doing right now is I am through Bluetooth wirelessly sending the program from the app to the Healy memory. So inside the Healy, there's a memory to hold the instructions for this program, all the instructions. So as Jake mentioned, once it's loaded, if I hard close the app, the instructions are still in the Healy. So once it starts, I don't have to worry about it stopping, even though I back out of the program, or even if I choose to turn the Bluetooth signal off. It's still going to run because once it's loaded, like it's doing right now, now it's loaded onto my Healy and it's running. And you'll notice, if you could see, the blue light and the green light are flashing, meaning it's connected to Bluetooth, and the green light flashing means it's running a program. So I can increase, I didn't mean to stop that. I can increase the intensity because I'm running the coil. I can run it up to 100%. I can decrease the intensity. I'm going to turn my screen back on here, guys. Okay, there's the app. All right. I can increase the intensity. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and crank it all the way up to 100%. I'm running the coil. I have it on my collar here. And you can see that waveform's getting stronger in the center. Down there at the pause button, that little center circle is filling out as I'm making it more intense. Now, at this point, I can hard close the app. Right now, if I was to try to go back, that little arrow at the top left, if I click that little arrow at the top left, see, it's going to ask me, do I want to quit this program? And if I say okay, then it's going to take me out of the program. If I say no, it's going to keep me in the program. Start the program back up. Now, in order to allow this to keep running in the background and maybe switch to a different Healy or to look at some other aspect of the app, I have to hard close the app. Now, if you don't know how to do that, there's a YouTube for that. Take a look at the YouTube on how to hard close an app on your smart device. So on the iPhone, I swipe up and left and I hard close the app. I just swiped it out of the way, right? It's gone. What happens is you can see, I don't know if you can see on my Healy, the Bluetooth light went off, but the green light's still flashing. I go back to my app, watch. When I open it, it's going to look for my Healy again, or any Healy that's turned on, it's going to look for them. This is the only one that's turned on, so it's going to find it. The Bluetooth light's going to start flashing on this Healy again. And when I click on the continue button, you see this page right here? Remember the last program I was on, bed rest? At the bottom, it says next or cancel. And it shows you that it's been running for 2 minutes. So in other words, this program's still running in the background. Had I been gone for 20 minutes, it'd tell me I was been running for 20 minutes. All right. If I hit next, watch. It goes right back to where I left off. See that? So that's how you would leave the app, go back, do some other things. If I wanted to connect to another Healy, all right, I would turn on another Healy, and I would click on the pink dot app. It's going to search and look at, it's going to find other Healys. And I can choose one of the other ones that's turned on. So I have another one over here that's turned on. Look at the serial number. Okay, that's the one. Go ahead and tap on that circle and connect to that one. This one I'm wearing here is still running the same program, bed rest, in the background. It didn't change anything. All I did was connect to another Healy, and I can start running another program from this one. Each Healy will continue running the program that I sent to its memory. Does that make sense? So you can add Healy after Healy after Healy, or MagHealy after MagHealy after MagHealy. And once they start running, they stay running through the duration of their whatever the timer was. Okay. So this is the second Healy I'm on. And you can see I can go to the menu. I can choose a different program. I can start this one. I can connect it via electrodes, the coil, whatever, and I can do some work with it. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense.
Certainly does.
All right.
But before we get to the end of the call, Ken, so we have on the schedule, as of right now, we were supposed to do Healy for Beginners and Beyond this Thursday, and we were supposed to go do a deep dive into the Analyse 2 app. But as everyone knows, it's not yet released. We had the same thing happen last month. We kind of threw in some other topics, but most likely we'll announce tomorrow, but most likely going to postpone this week's Healy for Beginners and Beyond. But again, we'll put that announcement, and always look for, if you have any questions about the current status of any meetings, go to our meeting calendar, which is Healy Americas Events.com. And I'm going to share my screen while we're discussing this. So you'll see here, this is the July schedule. We have for Healy for Beginners and Beyond scheduled for 3 tomorrow, but you'll see earlier today we had to cancel one of our other meetings. So if you have any question, or you need the links to join or the links to register, this is always the most up-to-date place to go. And you'll see here also, we've had some questions about how to register for these MagHealy trainings. So every Wednesday for the next several weeks, we have a MagHealy training. We had one 2 weeks ago with our Chief Product Officer, Martin Whitman, and then last week with Dr. Michael Chen. Those were the Martin Whitman training. The recording is actually available on our YouTube channel. The one with Michael Chen will be available soon. But you'll see here, there's links to register for English, Spanish, French, or Chinese. So you click on those from this page here, it'll take you to the page to register, and then you'll get a link to join these meetings. And they're at noon Eastern every Wednesday for the next several weeks. So this is, again, this is a fairly new resource for us, but it's an important one for everybody. And you'll see the August calendar is being populated as well too. So again, another spot to check out for if you want to stay connected with all the different meetings that we have going on right now.
I love it.
But back to what I wanted to say. Again, in the chat here, if you have any specific topics you would want to see covered on a future Healy for Beginners and Beyond, please go ahead and just put any things you would like to see us discuss in some more detail on that call. We always like to have new topics, new ideas. We've been doing that call for quite a while now. We've covered almost all of the topics there are to cover right now, but of course it's important for us. That's why once the Analyse 2 app comes out, we'll probably do a series for a couple of months of, deep dive into the Analyse 2 app and the different modules, the resonance, the aura, the coaching, and then all the other different features that are available there too. So
yay, I love it. I mean, we could do something like almost every day.
yeah,
Be on a call, and this is what by the way, this is what I did. Well, I still do it. But in the beginning, I dove into every bit of training I can get my hands on. It just makes it a better Healy experience. So don't be afraid to do that. So I've got the dueling Healys going on, 2 coils going on at the same time. 2 programs I'm running, and you may have saw what I loaded. The second program was memory. So how many of you guys out there know somebody? Well, probably none of you guys on this call, but maybe you know somebody that has memory issues, like they forget stuff, can't remember where they place their keys. I know none of you guys, but maybe you know somebody. So, and there's this discussion around, well, I'm losing my memory. Not necessarily. In fact, probably not. Most of the time when we are having a struggle remembering things is because our mind is so busy with stress response that we can't seem to get our memory online. This is because there's a limited resource in energy. And when our brain is in fight or flight, when our brain is in that high stress response in beta analytics, then the energy for memory is downregulated. So I'm running a memory program right now. But if you noticed, I'm also running bed rest. What did I say about bed rest? Bed rest is moving us into a rest and digest. Yeah. So I'm kind of complementing my memory by down regulating any stress in my body so that I have energy for memory. You see how that works? So we can build these models where we're trying to improve one thing by amplifying or enhancing or down regulating stress. No matter what you do, folks, if you can down regulate stress, if you can manage your stress response, you're going to improve every other condition in your life. Believe me, because your body's got a limited amount of energy. And when you liberate energy from stress, from that fight or flight, it's given to the healing modalities. It's given to repair, recovery, and growth. And so all of a sudden you thrive. So we got a few minutes here. I know there was a little confusion, and Henry did a great job of giving some content in the background of how to move from Healy to Healy. Let me show you that real quick. Again, I've got 2 running right now, right? I'm going to bring my app back online here, and I'm going to share that and show you how I can take a look at where each one of these are. Okay. Does that sound good? Let me show you how to do that. All right. So here we go. I'm going to go into back into my app. Okay. Now, when I go to the app, you can, if I didn't hard close it before, when I reopen it, it's going to reopen right into the last Healy it was connected to. So here I am. I still have an hour and 12 minutes. I'm at 100% intensity because I'm running the coil, and it's plugging right along. Okay. Now I want to look at the other one. How do I do that? I need to hard close this app. So you need to know how to do that on your smart device, how to hard close this app. So on an iPhone, I know how to do that. I'm going to swipe it up. Boom. Now it's gone. All right. So the next thing I do is I go back to the app. All right. Open the app. There are the Healys that it wants to connect to. The ones that are turned on are the ones with the little round circle that's open. That's I can choose. I have other Healys that I've connected to in the past, but it says not found. And the reason it says not found there is because they're not turned on. So the 2 that it's showing right now are the 2 I'm wearing. And I would need to know, okay, what's the serial number on the one that's running the bed rest? I know which one it is, so I'm going to choose on the one ending in 7C. I will continue. It's going to open the app. When it finds the Healy and opens the app, I'll say continue. And you see right here, remember before I have the choice. If I click next, I'm going to go right back into that app, and it shows me right there at the top of the screen. It's been running for 12 minutes. All right. Click on next. There's the bed rest program. Okay. Now this has been recorded, so you can go back to this section later on. If you didn't catch everything I did because I went too fast, I'm sorry, but The recording will allow you to pause, write things down, resume, back up, whatever, so you can get this down. That's how you do it. All right. If there's any questions, throw them into the chat there. There's a question here about why am I running it at 100%? Because I am running it with the coil. I'm connected to the coil. So I'm not connected to the electrodes. I'm connected to the coil. And with the coil, you can run it in a minimum of 60% up to 100%. Okay. What that means is I'm giving the maximum current flow to the coil to produce the strongest magnetic field. Okay. So I can run that at 100% all day long. And in fact, I can run multiple programs, where with the microcurrent, it's suggested that you do 3 to 4 a day, no more than that. But with the coil, I can run more, right? Because my body kind of sorts out the information. Something I want to bring attention to, as Jake mentioned earlier, there's the 3 different phases of how these programs operate. In the bed rest program, I'm in that second phase where it's starting to give me some analytics. Right next to the frequency being transmitted, there's a line and then a percentage. That 79%, now it's negative 99%. That's my body's level of receptivity to these frequencies, kind of the resonance within this frequency, how my body's responding to these frequencies, and it's giving me a progress report. So when it gets up to 98%, well, actually it depends, 97%, you may not see that frequency come back around on the next rotation, because when I'm up to 100% or fully optimized with that frequency, it kicks it out of the routine. Healy won't give you what you don't need. When the cup is full, aka the body is fully resonant, fully charged, fully in line with that frequency, it kicks it out of the routine. It won't give you what you don't need. Okay.
Yeah, Ken, just as anyone that's watching these frequencies on the screen here, you'll see that the 350 hertz, it was at negative 99, then it was at negative 56, and now it's at 23% positive. So you'll see it's kind of working its way through as we go here.
Yeah, and it can go backwards, by the way. If I'm having some kind of response mentally, right, or physically or emotionally, whatever, I can hinder or accent the progress that Healy is making with me. This is it's a handshake. It's an interaction between the energy being given to my body and my body's response to it. So it's not giving me what I don't need. I can simply, as we resist anything, by the way, right? Somebody offers you a drink of water and you say no. Okay. You resist something. Same here. If I have some kind of stress response, I can adjust these numbers. I can change them. But as Jake was saying, look at 350 hertz now. It's at 86%. So
yeah, and it probably won't come back around, right?
it may not come back around through the rotation because it takes a certain amount of time. You see the rate of change, right? It's changing very quickly. So take a look on the next rotation to see if 350 hertz comes back, or does my body become 100% resonant with it or 100% optimized with it? And so it's done.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll just let this run and you guys can watch as it's going through. Now, this is bed rest. Remember, what's the purpose of bed rest? It's just moving me into the parasympathetic, out of any kind of stress response, and promoting a rest and digest response, which simply gives more energy to healing my body.
Yeah, you see there's a new set of frequencies that have entered this cycle here.
Right? Because 350 is gone.
Yep.
Right. So it's on to the next phase. It's going to do its automatic systems. And when each one of these frequencies get to another 100%, it's out. Genius, huh? All right. Well, let's see. I'll go ahead and stop share here. So you guys got a pretty good indication of how that works. We're at the top of the hour. Jake, anything you want to, any last closing question?
Join us tomorrow for What's Up Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We got some exciting news regarding the Analyse 2 app, a lot of the news that many of you have been waiting for. So we'll be discussing that during that call tomorrow. So go ahead. And again, if you don't have the link to join, go to HealyAmericasEvents.com and just click on that What's Up Wednesday link. And you'll be able to get registered for that.
Awesome. Well, so you guys want to save the chat. If you're on your PC or your laptop, at the bottom of the screen where you've been putting in your content, click on those three little dots. At the end of our call, it will come up with an opportunity for you to save the chat. If anything there, you want to keep those links, those comments. If you missed something, the recording will be available in a couple days or so. Go back to this and slow down some of the things that we covered so you can get those solidified within your mind. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Henry, for your help in the background.
Everyone.
Big love, everybody. We'll see you next week. See you tomorrow, too, Jake.
That's right. Thank
All
you.
right.